Welcome back. So you can tell by this message up here that our messaging disabled feature is working fine. So we're going to go back into the dashboard and we are going to re-enable messaging so that we can use the feature as normal. And now you'll see if we go to messages.php, we can view messages without getting that error message. So basically what we have here is a table of messages, but you can't click on any of them and actually get a message. And you'll see if we were to come in here and do message ID equals 3, then we would have the message. And if we were to do message equals 5, we would get kicked out from our security feature. So all that's working. So what we really need to do then is make these links. And so we're going to come into, we're in messages.php, so we're going to come to messages.php, and we are going to look at our table, and so this is our table. So what we basically want to do is turn everything in these 3 columns into a link. So let's do that. I'm going to hit an A and then tab, and that's going to basically give me my link thing. So I'm going to do message.php, and then we need to pass that ID in there. So ID equals, and then we're going to get that ID from this. If you remember on this page, we're taking all of our messages and we're for eaching through them. And so each message is called M. And so we are going to concatenate, if you remember your PHP, one of my least favorite things to do. So we're going to concatenate on the message ID. So this is M ID. Okay. And then we want to close the link all the way down here after the sent on thing. So basically what we've done is we've made 3 of the 4 columns on this table a link, and we've told it that when that link is clicked on, go to message.php and pass in the ID of whatever message you happen to be looping through. So I'll show you how that works. We're going to come over here, and now these should all turn blue, or should be. It didn't work. Maybe I didn't save it. Messages. So what is going on here? Why would that not be a link? Maybe we need to pass them. Maybe we can't do that across this thing. So let's see here. Let's take this and put that in here, and then we're going to put this in here and this in here, and then we're going to close each one inside the cell. And bam, let's try that. There we go. So now they're all links. And if you look at the bottom of the screen here, you'll see that I am not passing the ID in there properly. It just says ID equal. If you kind of look down, I wish I could point to it with my finger, but none of these, if you click on them, it's not going to work because there's no ID being passed in there. So what we need to do is figure out what I botched. So message.php ID equals, and then we need to be echoing in. So the problem is I'm not in PHP, so I don't need to concatenate like this. So basically what I want to do is just get rid of all this. And because I'm in HTML, I can just come right in here and do this, equals MID. So no need to concatenate, just drop it right in the middle. Save it. Refresh the page. And now if you look at the bottom of the screen, you can see that the ID is being passed. This is message 6, this is message 1, and this is message 2. So if I click on it, now the message is going to come up, a different message will come up, and a different message will come up. So right now we don't have this formatted nicely, but essentially we're able to come in here and click on a message. We can click on any of these things and we're going to get the message. Let's go ahead and do one more thing. Since it's only 4 minutes in, you guys are still good, you're raring to go. So when we come in here to message, we're in this message thing here. We want to mark this message as read once it's clicked on it. So you can see this thing here. So let's go in here to message.php, And when we find the message, so we're getting the input and then we're finding it. And then what we want to do is we'll go ahead and let it do the security thing first, because that's important. We don't want to mark the message read if it gets kicked away for a security reason. So what we want to do is we are getting message in this variable. So let's say this: if message, and then if we look at our database, we can see that there is a thing called message read, and right now that's 0. So what we're going to do is if message message read equals, we'll do 2 equals 0, then what I want you to do is db update, and then I don't know that we've done an update yet, so there's one more piece of information that needs to be passed in there. We need to go to messages, and that's the table name, and then we need to do an array, and I told you about a shortcut way of doing that. So we could put message, and instead of doing fields equals, we're just going to do message read, and then we're going to do the same hash rocket, and we're going to put a 1 in there because we want to mark it as read. But what we also need to do is pass in the ID, and so the ID would be message ID. So what happens is it's going to grab the ID from the URL bar. It is going to find that message. If the message is not to or from the person looking at it, it's going to add something to the security table, and then it's going to redirect them. If it is yours, then it's going to check and see, is the message unread? And if it is, update it and mark it read. So hopefully that logic works, and we will come in here and let's go back to our messages, and you'll see that right now all 3 of these are marked as unread. So if I click this one, then we have an error here. So line 51, this happens. So line 51, we have an unexpected brace there. So line 51. Now the reason why this is unexpected, why would it not expect a brace there? And the reason for that is because I forgot to put a semicolon here. It's not expecting this because it is expecting this. So I'm going to save it, and we're going to refresh the page again. Now we have the message, and now if I come back here, let's see what happens. It did not work. So it did not fire off that query and update the thing. So let's figure out why. So before we go on too far, let's do a dump and die message read and see what it sees for that. So we're going to read that message, and it sees a 0, so that's what we think it should see. That's good. So now something isn't right. So what I already see what's not right. You probably knew what was not right. What was not right is that the table isn't message, it's messages. And so now when I come here and refresh this page, it's going to show the thing, and when I come back here, this one now is listed as read. And if I click on this one and go back, that one's read. And so, cool. So, yeah, that's not too bad. Now, we'll take a couple minutes. You guys aren't in a hurry, right? You got some time. You're here to code. You want to learn how to code. So let's do a little thing here. Let's do a form, and then we will just call it. We're just going to leave that right there for now, and we're going to call this. We're going to make the action message.php ID equals, and then we're going to pass that ID in there that we're getting from the top. So we got that from here, ID equals, right there. And then the method is post, and then all we're going to do is put a submit button. And so we've got a submit button right here that we can copy. And so let's just copy this one. And again, we're not trying to make anything pretty right now. So we're just going to do this. So we will put on this, we'll put mark unread. And then mark unread. So all this is a simple form that is going to submit, and when it submits, it's going to tell it to mark unread. So let's just make sure everything looks good. So we click on this thing, and obviously we're not going to want that gigantic button, but it's there for now, and that's fine. We're going to make things pretty later. And so now what we want to do is come into our code, and you'll notice the name here is mark unread. So we're going to add some more PHP here. So this is the message read thing. So what we'll do is if not empty post. Dang, I can't type today. And then we'll put mark unread. So 2 of those. And then db update messages message ID, and then we're going to take the same thing that we just did here, and we are going to turn that back to a 0. And then we're going to put the semicolon there this time because we didn't do that last time. And so now we just made a mini form that all that form is going to do is go in the messages table, take this message, and this should be an arrow, and mark it as unread. So let's go back here for a second. If you look at this, message 1 is read. We're going to click on it. We're going to mark it unread, and then we didn't really do anything. But if I come back here, so okay, so what we want to do to make sure that we don't refire off, if you'll notice, what was going on here is that as it gets to this part of the page, it's automatically marking it read again. So what we want to do is we want to redirect to messages.php, and then we'll put yeah, we don't have to put a message up there. So let's see what happens. We can get fancier with this thing, and but let's play with it. So there, mark unread. Now that should have sent us to messages.php. So we are missing something here. So message.php ID equals this, so it's putting it there. Mark unread.